Hazaku Baruch. Good morning, Morai V'Rabotai. Be'ezrat Hashem, Mincha is going to be 7:45. Hayom Arba'im, Yom La'omer Shem Hamisha Shavuot V'Hamisha Yamim. The learning today is for the health, Shalom Bayit and Panasav, the Garbuspki family, sponsored by Shalom Tzvi Ben Krindel and Liat Bat Hana. Further sponsorships, please contact Rabbi Babayev. The halacha says, we were discussing for the few days, if you have a candle next to the door. But today we want to discuss what happens when the candle is actually on the door. As Shulchan Aruch refers to this as a candle that's kavua badirit, that's on the door. Now every time the door opens, maybe the wind is not going to blow it out, but automatically it's going to move the candle. So he's certainly not intending to move the candle, he's intending to open and close the door. So in terms of, let's say, the prohibition perhaps of muktzeh, we're not dealing with handling muktzeh. Maybe he is moving muktzeh, but he's moving it in a backhanded way to get in. That's not an issue. What is the issue? The issue potentially could be that when you move the door, so the oil that's in the candle, as we know the candles of the Gemara's times, they were containers, kind of like a sort of a pottery container that had in it a wick. And when you would move it, what would happen is the oil would jump up or would go back, recede. And basically, the problem with that is that you're doing hav'ara and kibui. You potentially could be extinguishing and you could be adding to the flame every time you move it, because there's almost nothing you could do about it. And according to the Shulchan Aruch, even if you do it very, very gently, you move the door very slowly, there's nothing you could really do. It's going to shake and it's going to move. And therefore, says the Shulchan Aruch, if the candle that has oil and is a container is by the door, is on the door, so that when you open it, it automatically has to move, so that would be asul to do. Which, maybe that exact example is not so common today, but the parallel would be if it was on the table and you wanted to move the table and the candles were there, then according to the Shulchan Aruch, it would be asul, not just because perhaps it could also be a problem of muktzeh, because of basis over there in that case. But even if there was no question of muktzeh, it would be asul because now you're going and you're increasing and decreasing the fire, and therefore it's a problem. There is room a little bit to distinguish between the candles of the Gemara's times and our times. Nevertheless, it's very hard to make a distinction that's not explicitly in the poskim. And since Chacham Ovadia brings it down, it's something to apply. Now, that's all true for candles that contain the oil. As the Gemara refers to it as a candle, we don't call it candles today. We call it a container that has oil. The Gemara refers to it as a ner. What if you have what we would call candles with the wick and everything that's like a stick? That is actually mutar. It is mutar. You cannot directly move it, of course. But if it's attached to the door and you want to open the door and you do it slowly so it's not going to extinguish, the flame might move a little bit, but there's nothing that's going to increase the fuel of the flame. And therefore, Chacham Ovadia writes, and this is really the Ramada writes, is it is mutar if you have a candle, for example, on the door, and I want to open the door, it wouldn't be asul because I'm increasing a fire or decreasing a fire. That's not going to be the issue. The one issue could potentially be if it's on the table, there could be an issue in terms of muktzeh. It's a whole nother set of halachot, when it's considered muktzeh, when it's not considered muktzeh because of the din basis, but that's something for a different time. But nevertheless, in terms of the moving of the candle itself, there would be permissibility. And again, so it comes out there's a distinction between a candle that the flame is the oil versus something that's awake, that's very hard, and is not going to go ahead and go up and down. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.